Hey guys, it's Mario here, and I'm about to enter a Walmart right now to do some shopping. So I wanted to show you guys a little bit of what the diet currently looks like, what are some of the foods that I'm gonna buy, and to guide you through a little bit of the process. I do shopping twice or three times a week, so this is one of those times. It's Sunday, so it's kind of a rest shopping day. So let's get on with it. Let's do some shopping, and let's buy some healthy food. So the first stop today for our shopping is gonna be some veggies. And you guys know that I love bell peppers. I love all types of bell peppers. So here we have three types. I'm gonna buy a little bit of each one just to have some extra vegetables at home. I already have a bunch of them. So I guess I'm just gonna go for like three of each just to kind of restock because these are fresh, and I tend to eat about 3 per day. I think with every single meal I need one, so it's gonna be fine for the next couple of days. Generally you want to get your fiber mainly from fruits, veggies, and I'm not really big on grains, which we're gonna talk a little bit about now, and that's why most of my fiber will come from vegetables and fruits. So that's kind of the goal as well, and dark chocolate, so we don't want to forget that. My favorite out of the three here is the red pepper. So this is fantastic for fighting off cravings. If you crave sugar and things like that and you're in a diet and like it's the middle of the night and you're not sure what to eat that kind of resembles sweetness but it's not a lot of calories, this is what red peppers are really good for. I think that's when I started to really eat a lot of red peppers, was when I dieted for the first time. And then I realized, damn, this food tastes really good, because it takes a while for your brain to reprogram itself to start enjoying the healthy food. And what happened here is on a diet, you're generally feeling like, oh, I can't eat this, I can't eat that, I can't eat this. It's kind of shift your mindset to, okay, what can I eat? What are the healthy foods that I can put into my body? And that's like how I came to really love vegetables and fruits, which is something that I haven't really been a fan of, let's say like that. When I was like a little kid, I really hated actually eating a lot of vegetables. I was always being forced by my mother to eat a lot of vegetables and cook stuff. So now kind of it's like a different story. Now I'm the one forcing my family to eat more vegetables, and they're like, okay, we can't eat more. That's kind of the story right now. So yeah, things change, right? Okay, so let's see what the situation here is with the berries. Oh yeah, that's what we want. So this is probably my favorite food right now. If I could pick one food, it would be berries. And if all of these berries here, I would pick blueberries. So this is my favorite food by far out of all the foods that I'm gonna buy and eat and consume on a regular basis. It's blueberries, hands down. And I do want to get a little bit of variety as well, but blueberries definitely. And I'm looking at these to check out the date to see if they're gonna last long. That's one critical factor. When you're buying berries, you want to first check the status to see how fresh they are. Then you want to see if they will expire very fast, because they do go they go bad very, very fast. Okay, so blueberries are good. Let me just check the blackberries. It's probably coming from somewhere in central Mexico. Yeah. Is good. You can get majority of your carbohydrates from fruits, and that's something I'm doing right now, is that I'm going to be eating majority of my carbohydrates just from fruits. And that's why I'm here actually today, because I ran out of fruits. And it runs out really, really fast when you eat like 300-400 grams of carbs from fruits. I mean, a kilo of bananas, like a couple of days, max. How easy is that? You don't have to cook. You don't have to do any special food prep. They generally last a long time. It's a couple of days at least if you buy them very fresh. So why not do that? What is the thing that is stopping you? Unless, there are certain myths out there. If you look at the bodybuilding community, there's gonna be myths like, oh, fructose is bad for you, or fructose makes you fat, and things like that, and you shouldn't eat fruits on a diet. That's what bodybuilders used to do, and some bodybuilders still do that. But if you look at the science, it has nothing to do with what's really happening, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with fructose. There's nothing wrong with basing the majority of your carbohydrate intake on fruits, it's actually preferable, especially if you're on a diet where you can add a lot of micronutrients to your diet, whereas compare that to a grain-based carbohydrate intake, you're not going to get a lot of micronutrients from that, right? And even, I mean, there's even a case for avoiding anti-nutrients by limiting grain consumption. I'm not some kind of like paleo wizard, you know, or something like that, but there's a good case for that. I'm going to actually link a book in the description below that talks about the case of why we are so obsessed with whole grains now, while that might not be the best idea. So here, basically more carbs, apples. One of the best source of carbohydrate you can get, basically apples. I think you can fit like 7 or 8 peanut butter cups in one apple in just size of the apple. So that's like 500 calories, and one apple is like 80, 90 calories. So when you're on a diet, specifically on a diet, you want to double down on these sources that give you a lot of volume. So you're eating a lot of food. Like this whole thing here is like, what is this? 5 apples times 80, 90 calories, okay? So it's not a lot of calories, you know? And try to eat 5 apples in a row, you know? It's not an easy thing to do. So that's kind of like a couple of hacks that you can use when you're dieting, you know, double down on food volume. But when you're, let's say, in a lean gaining phase like I am right now, I actually have to be careful to limit food volume in a case to add more caloric density. That's why we're gonna go in the chocolate section and buy a lot of dark chocolate. So now I wanna look into here because I know that cheese is somewhere around. So I believe the cottage cheese is gonna be there. So that's gonna be the food that I'm gonna get. Let me move this cart. Someone is being very irresponsible with their carts. I'm not even gonna comment on the food choices because that's something that I think a natural reaction would be like of people. Like if you're following a healthy diet, like the natural reaction is, oh, you think everybody sucks, you know, their diets suck. To be fair, man, like if you're working on yourself, like you don't really have time to think about what other people are doing. So, I mean, you could spend a whole day in Walmart and just looking at what other people are doing and start judging them. Oh, look at their eating just like fries and stuff, you know. What's the point of that, you know? Just try to help people. And if they ask for it, you don't want to give out unsolicited advice. So this one is until November, so I'm gonna get 2 of these. Because I already have like a whole bunch of cottage cheese at home. And they're pretty good. I think the macros, let me show you guys the macros in this one. Let me grab one from here. So the macros in this one, 12 grams of protein, 1 gram of fat, and 3 grams of carbs. 3 or 4 grams of carbs. That's pretty good. That's pretty solid for cottage cheese. It's basically just protein. If you need more protein, you just combine that with berries. Voila, you know, there's your one meal in a day. You know, if you just eat berries and cottage cheese, that's a whole meal that you don't have to worry about anything else. So now I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with these fruits. I'm probably not gonna get any. I'm gonna look into what other fruits can I get. I think we're missing nectarines, so, and pears, so I'm gonna go up and get those. And generally, I mean, I love variety, and I wish there's more variety in people's diets. And that's something I see a lot of people kind of, I guess, don't pay attention. You know, it's easier not to make changes. You know, it's easier to fall into your habits and things like that. But if you look at all of these foods here, I mean, the more variety you have, the better. So I'm actually gonna get even some kiwi. Now I'm reminded to get some of these tasty looking plums. If I can find ones that are not very, very soft, which is kind of an indicator that they're gonna go bad soon. So let me get one of these here. Yeah, kiwi is awesome. These are from New Zealand for sure. New Zealanders be proud, you know, their kiwi is like all around the world. they're like super proud. So yeah, I mean, with variety, you're kind of covering a lot of different micronutrients. And that's the whole point of variety. And that's why I like fruits as well, because you can combine a lot of different types of fruits and get completely different micronutrient profiles. Right? And it's crazy. And people like watching this video might be, well, aren't you like a vegetarian or vegan or something like that? No, I mean, I just eat, the majority of my food intake is actually fruits and vegetables. If you just look at the volume of food, that's what a healthy diet looks like. And on top of that, if you go for a little bit of dairy, a little bit of meat, you know, some fish and things like that, you get an enormous amount of nutrition, and it's all pretty good healthy stuff. So let's get some plums here, if they're good. That's the question of the day. Let's see. Okay, I can pick out a few that are really decent. Haven't had plums in a while. I remember as a little kid we had a plum tree next to our house, and I was always climbing on that tree. It's interesting how I was fearless as like a little kid growing up in a war back in like Yugoslavia, and I was like climbing on trees and shit. Now if I could probably go on a tree, I would be terrified as shit. How things like that like really shape you. I was always on some trees like falling like a little bit, and I never really got hurt. That's kind of interesting as well. Okay, these are good. More carbs. So now when I talk about the lean gaining phase a little bit, if you look at my diet right now, so my protein intake, and I actually wait for this person to do their announcement in Spanish, which I don't really even understand what the hell that means. So when I look at my macros right now, because I know a lot of you guys will be asking about the macros, so I'm eating about 150 grams of protein a day, about 350 or so grams of carbs, and a lot of fat. So most of my calories are coming from 100 grams plus fat, right? So I'm adding a lot of fat to my diet. And the reason for that is that it is a lot easier to eat a larger amount of food if you add fats, right? Instead of trying to go like super high carb and low fat, which I see a lot of guys doing, which can work as well. But I find after I got about 350 grams of carbs, I don't see a benefit of going higher, especially because, I mean, even though my trainings are 2 hours and they're an enormous amount of volume, I don't really see the benefit of going super high carb, at least not in my case. And I truly enjoy having the flexibility to eat more than one whole chocolate every day if I want to, which is incredible. These are awesome and fresh, I love them. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of the macros, right? So about 3,100 calories right now on a lean gaining phase. So not too shabby, you know, a lot of food still compared to like the diet phase where I was eating like 2,000, which sucked. And even more when I was at the end of the diet, I was eating about 1,900, which sucked even more. And on rest days, I would go as low as like 1,600. I was training 4 days a week, so 3 days out of those 4 days, it was like really horrible. Low calorie, fatigue, all those negative effects like libido, like non-existent and things like that. So hopefully that's gonna change. You know, here I'm used to seeing like a little bit of cheese, but I don't have those like phage, like 0% fat. Maybe they moved it somewhere. So I have to look around a little bit. But I did get the cottage cheese, so I'm pretty happy with that, so I don't need to worry. 12.9 grams of protein, 5 grams of carbs, and 0 fat. Literally 0 fat. So when you're looking at a fast source of protein with no strings attached in terms of fats and carbs, that's the one you go. Let's see what's happening here in this section of chocolate. Oh yeah, that's the lovely chocolate. So I'm gonna go for 85% because I already have a lot of 90% ones at home. And the 70% is really tasty compared, when you get used to eating like 85 and 90, when you go to 70%, it's like, what the hell is this? Like, it's the best chocolate in the world. And I'm sure that someone moving from milk chocolate to this one will be like, yuck, you know, that shit sucks. I mean, I felt the same. So it took a while for like kind of to build a tolerance. I'm really misbehaving in Mexico because I'm not buying any of these awesome like sauces and things like that. Like different types of foods. I'm just buying my standard food where I go. So these are some pretty good cuts of red meat. I try to consume red meat 3 times a week, so this kind of fits the category. So it's decent, couple of times a week, red meat, just to get the nutrition from it. This looks pretty decent as well, so I might try out this one. And it is really good, right? I mean, you get a lot of good nutrients from it, and it's good to mix things up. So the way I kind of maximize my nutrition right now, in terms of like, let's say meat consumption or general, let's say protein sources. So I go with 3 days kind of meat-ish based around red meat, and then I'm gonna have 2 or 3 days based on dairy products mainly, and then I'm gonna have, let's say 2 days that are based on like seafood, which I'm gonna show you right now. So this is becoming one of my favorite protein sources, specifically on those days when I have only 1,000 calories. This is pure protein, and you're getting pretty good micronutrition from this. Specifically, you're getting iodine, which is quite rare actually, and seafood is one of the best sources of that. So incorporating this into your diet, let's say twice a week, is a really, really good idea. And in general, I mean, fatty fish on a lean bulk is probably the best thing you can do. Like fatty fish, a little bit of red meat, and I generally don't eat a lot of chicken on a bulking diet, quote unquote, because I feel like it's just, I get so tired of it when I was on a diet, so I never want to eat it ever again, you know. So I'm kind of getting more in tune with other types of meat now that I have the flexibility to do so. Let me look at other stuff here. I believe I already have some chicken at home, so I'm not gonna get it. So the way I have the chicken right now, it's like kind of like 1 pack at home, it's frozen. That's kind of like in case of emergency, unfreeze this pack. So that's what happens. So yeah, that's kind of the diet actually. If you look at it right now, you can see a quick summary of the diet right there. So it's a lot of berries, it's a lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables, and basically lean protein, also some red meat here, and a lot of fats are coming from dark chocolate. So that's kind of like the summary of the diet real quick there, with exceptions, of course, if I'm, let's say, eating out, which I make sure to do 2 or 3 times a week. So 2 or 3 times a week, I'm gonna go eat out. And when I eat out, I'm actually gonna try to consume something that is not my regular diet. And I kind of use the opportunity to try out different foods. And also it's a great opportunity to, like just getting some different types of nutrients inside, which I generally don't really bother to get. And that's kind of the whole idea of eating out. Plus you get to enjoy really, really awesome food. So when it comes to that rule of, let's say, if it fits your macros and things like that, the way it works out generally is if you have those 2-3 meals per week where you can just eat whatever you want, if you keep the rest of your diet really healthy and nutritious and awesome, you feel really good, right? Because you have the flexibility, you can be social. I keep those meals for, let's say, a Friday and a Saturday, and for the rest of the time I do this. And then when I do that, what happens is that I can also monitor my weight fluctuations. I can see like my weight change after a sushi night, or after a night of Mexican food, or after a night of like Italian food. I can literally see how that affects your body weight, even though the calories are equated, the macros are the same, and I know that, let's say, from a night of sushi, that I'm gonna wake up half a kilo heavier because I just retained more water because of the rice. Similarly with Italian food, it's like a kilo heavier the next day because of all the pizza. And that's very interesting to see, because it kind of brings back the viewpoint when you're let's say on a diet, when you're trying to cut fat. You see that how much food choices influence your body weight measurements, which is something a lot of people miss out on when they see all those fluctuations happening. They don't average out the weight on a weekly basis, and they get confused. They're like, oh my God, you know, the weight is all over the place. Am I losing? Am I gaining? Am I staying the same? So it's a really good idea to try to see how different types of foods that you're eating are affecting your body weight as well, and get into a habit of averaging things out. So when you average things out, you're gonna be more objective, you know, you're not gonna be so obsessed with 1-day measurements or 2-day measurements. That's why I'm a big fan of weighing yourself every day, because if I didn't weigh myself every day, I mean, I woke up today like 78.4 kilos, and just 2 days ago I was 76.4. So I kind of gained 2 kilos. That's like more than 4 pounds in 2 days. Did that happen? Of course not, right? Of course I didn't put on 4 pounds of muscle or fat in 2 days, or even a combination. But if I didn't know the fact that I just had 2 different types of meals, if I wasn't in tune with that, I would have judged my diet, I would have judged my physique. I might have made a poor decision of reducing my calories in my lean gaining phase, or let's say adding more calories or reducing calories further on a diet. So that's kind of like a good idea to have in your mind, is everything matters. So look for patterns, look for things that are happening, and average things out. Always average things out on a monthly, on a weekly basis, or in general, try to make sense of the data that you're getting from your tool that you're using, MyFitnessPal or whatever you're using. So now we're back here in the good old veggie and fruit section. I don't really have a lot more to get, so I'm gonna look into a little bit out. I might get some more strawberries, I guess, just to add more carb sources, because these strawberries looks really nice, so I don't want to miss out on the opportunity. Yeah, he's gonna get some strawberries. So it's practically gonna be just berries for carbs in the next few days, and that's gonna be it for today. I think that's, in terms of shopping, I don't want to buy more. I think this is plenty of food for a little bit now, and I have eggs at home. What else do I have at home that I didn't show you guys here? So I got eggs, I got some salad, so that's why I didn't buy any salad here, because I already have a lot of green salad at home. So that's kind of it. So let's go check out, and a couple of final points on the diet, and I'm gonna let you guys go. Oh man, so much processed food here. So one reason why I didn't buy any processed food is that I just don't want to keep it in the house, because if it's in the house, I'm gonna eat it. That's just the rule that I have. And even in a lean gaining phase, despite the fact that I have a lot of calories, I'm not gonna eat a lot of processed foods, because I just care about getting a lot of different types of nutrition in there, right? So it's kind of a different way of viewing things, is that, okay, I can get the nutrition, or I can get, let's say, a ton of processed food, and what is going to happen is that I might miss out on some potential little gain that might happen. So I reserve that fact that I can get those 2-3 meals per week and really enjoy it, instead of buying something that I'm not even going to really enjoy, right? If I buy this candy bar here, right, or whatever it is, I'm not even going to enjoy it as much, because it's just a basic plain old candy bar. But if I go out, and if it's really a night out where I'm gonna try different types of foods, and if that's my 5-10% of flexibility, I'm gonna go out of the way to have the best dessert and really enjoy it, right? Be mindful and enjoy it, be grateful for the moment to have it, instead of just eating junk that I don't really even want to eat and just get calories from that, right? So it's kind of keeping an eye out on that and eliminating those in-between things, right? You can only afford to do things that you really love to do. So don't waste your calories and on stuff that is not worth the calorie amount, right? It's not worth the space in your belly. Although the companies are fighting to get that food into your belly, it's kind of called the stomach wars, where they fight for how much food they're gonna have in your belly, and they're like fighting with ads and different types of other tools and marketing. So it's kind of interesting battle going on. I'm not too big on conspiracy theories, so I'm not gonna go into that, but it's kind of cool to have that as a perspective. And as a final note here, I want to thank you guys for sticking with the video. This is basically the shopping for a couple of days. It doesn't change a lot throughout the weeks or the days, but in the future it might change if I come up with, let's say, a different types of source, or let's say if I move to a different country, which happens every couple of months, and then when I move, the food kind of changes a little bit depending on the location. Here in Mexico, at least in the Walmart, you can get pretty much anything you want. So it's a great place to be and a great place to do shopping. But let's say if I go back to Europe, it's gonna look a little bit different, but it's gonna be the same, right? I try to eat what is in season as well, what is fresh. And in Europe, I mean, depending when I land there, there's gonna be different things. So pretty excited for that. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions as usual, and make sure to hit that subscribe button below to support the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.